At the T-minus 3-minute mark, tape recorders on board the spacecraft were turned on. These recorders record both voice and data.
Hello, this is WOMMLP Burlington. This is 105.9 FM, The Radiator. This is Rocket Shop. I'm filling in for Tom tonight. My name is Sophie Bokelman, and with me here I have Young Tradition Vermont. Welcome. And can I get an introduction from both of you?
I'm Yazi Zeichner. I'm on the board of Young Tradition Vermont, and I've done various things through the organization, and I am managing Young Tradition Weekend, which is our big event coming up this weekend.
Yes, and I'm Mark Sustic. I'm the director of the organization, and Yazi is somebody we've known about for a while, and has kind of grown up in playing this music, traditional music, folk music, roots music, whatever you want to call it. We focus on singing, playing, and dancing. Those three things go together as a very central ingredient. So that's who we are.
Sounds great. All right, so I would love to hear just a brief introduction, a little bit on Young Tradition Vermont, what it is, what's your mission?
Sure. So we have a kind of a four-part mission. We're trying to, it's all about young people, and we say young as infants, toddlers, preschoolers, teens, young adults, so that whole range. What we're interested in is making sure folks are exposed to and inspired by traditional music and dance. That takes a lot of forms, and then we want to make sure that folks have a chance to learn it. So we have music camps, we have workshops, have methods where folks get a chance to learn it, and then we want to make sure they have a chance to perform what they've learned and what they're inspired by. We just got back from a tour of Scotland a few days ago, as a matter of fact, and took a group of teenagers over there, 24 folks went on that trip. And then we try to make sure that we take that inspiration, that ability to perform what they've learned and serve their communities. Could be through benefit concerts or teaching other people or cycling through and trying to inspire folks with their enthusiasm. So that's basically it. To do that, we have 30 different programs. One of them is what's coming up this weekend, Young Tradition Weekend, which is a kind of a collection of a variety of different things.
Very cool.
Talk more about that.
Yes, Young Tradition Weekend sounds fun. So that's happening this weekend?
Yes.
Very
Starting
cool.
tomorrow, actually.
Starting tomorrow. So
Yeah.
what is it, a whole weekend-long event?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, we've got tomorrow a community dinner and contra dance at Burlington High School. That's tomorrow evening. And then Friday we have a performance at Integrated Arts Academy, midday performance. And then Saturday is our big day. We have a contest. It's contest finals, actually. Folks have submitted videos online, and then 9 or 10 people get picked to perform in the finals. And so that's happening Saturday morning at Waterfront Park. And then Saturday evening we announce who won the contest, and we have a teacher-student showcase. That's a pretty popular event. It's been going for a while. And then last day of the event, Sunday, we have a Margaret MacArthur tribute concert.
Good stuff. So again, that is happening this weekend. And is this a free event, partially free?
By donation.
By donation.
Yeah, it's mostly free.
Yeah.
We do accept donations for anything, but there's a couple of the evening events are specifically have a suggested donation.
Very cool. Good stuff. So you have a violin or a fiddle
Yes.
with you this evening. Would you want to go ahead and play us something? I'd love to hear some music as we talk about
Sure.
events going on this weekend.
Sure. Let's see. I play primarily traditional Irish music. So I will play a couple of reels.
All right. Great. Thank you.
Yay. good.
Awesome. So
Good stuff.
again, we're here with Young Tradition Vermont. You want to introduce that song again for me?
Sure, those were a couple of Irish reels. The first one is called Letty from Cavan. It's named after a person who knew the composer. And then the second one is Paddy Fahey's Number 6.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much. So is that something that we could kind of be expecting to hear if we came this weekend? Is it going to
Yeah,
be
there's going to be a whole range of music, and that type of music will be in the mix.
in the mix? Definitely. So what other type of music could we expect to hear?
Well, there'll be more contradance style music. There's going to be, I think, a bluegrass band is
Yes.
part of the competition, so you'll hear some
Cool.
bluegrass.
Very cool.
What are some of the other folks at the showcase?
There is a Nepalese group and a group from Burundi. People doing Burundi music. And it's not just instrumental music, it's dancing and singing as well.
Yep.
There's people doing Balkan choral music, as well as fiddling, guitar playing, banjo playing, singing.
Awesome. So I think a lot of folks, you hear Young Tradition Vermont, and you're kind of thinking, like, I think what I would normally think of would be like this traditional Irish music.
Oh, yeah.
And I checked out your website some, and you talk a lot about, the new Americans coming, and what are you guys kind of doing to integrate new Americans and the immigrant population in Vermont into your organization?
So we're just bouncing back and forth, who's going to talk and who's not. Well, one of the priorities for our organization is to make sure we're working with other organizations. We're always trying to partner. For example, the weekend is a partnership between the Vermont Folklife Center, Burlington Parks, Recreation, and Waterfront, and a few other organizations as well. So when we're talking about particular populations or particular age groups, we try to go to where those people are. So we've got some partnerships with the Burlington Public Schools, so the Integrated Arts Academy, Sustainability Academy, some others, and we work with them. We work with the Vermont Refugee Resettlement Program and various other groups that have sort of spun out of that. And we've sponsored some programs with the Vermont Folklife Center, which has grant funding to support apprenticeships, young people learning about their own traditions and being able to having opportunities to play that and learn from master musicians or master teachers, some of which will be on display when we do a showcase concert on Saturday night at City Hall. So that's a little bit about how we get there.
Good stuff.
We all come from somewhere, so the other piece is that folks try to talk about or discover their own roots and figure out where their music comes from, where their heritage comes from. I got introduced to the Bosnian community because my background is the Balkans, and I was able to not only support that community in doing what they wanted to do, but I found out a little bit about myself and about the music that is probably reaches back into my own heritage. And all of us come from somewhere, and maybe could find some things that our ancestors had something to do with.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
sure.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So again, happening this weekend, definitely check it out so we can all learn a bit about our ancestry, perhaps, learn more about yourselves, hear some good music, all very good stuff. So I know your organization is also really youth focused.
It is.
Do you guys have anything to say about that? How you get youth involved? How do you get kids super pumped about this traditional music and get folks out to play?
Well, we've got a few different ways. One thing that we kind of get kids introduced with is an instrument petting zoo. And it's basically a whole bunch of instruments: fiddles, mandolins, harps, dulcimers, whistles, accordions, you name it, basically. And we have them all out at, farmers markets or school installations, or there will be one at Kids Day on Waterfront Park on Saturday. And kids can just come, adults too. Everyone can just come and fiddle around with the instruments and just pick up one that they have no idea how it works and make noises on it. And so that's one way that we...
Are there any super quirky instruments that you know of that you have?
Well, we have a
fun ones?
dramion, a Tibetan. It's probably the easiest way to describe it is a Tibetan guitar.
Yeah.
Migmar Sering, who's a member of our board of directors, has a youth group. In fact, they're away this weekend, so this year they're not going to be there. but he teaches that instrument, and he's donated an instrument to the petting zoo. So it could be an unusual encounter if you want to look for something unusual. What we're trying to do is make sure that folks have a chance to interact with things that they might typically find. They might, if you're Tibetan, you might find one of those instruments in your environment, and that's good. But a lot of folks see fiddles or guitars or banjos or those more common instruments, and we try to make sure that kids are able to put their hands on them. And maybe that sparks an interest in fact, it does spark an interest in many of the kids that we've gotten to know over the years. The group that we took to Scotland, I remember watching them perform at a concert in Edinburgh just a few days ago. And I was remembering that I was looking at two of the young people in the band and remembering seeing the first time they touched an instrument when they were like 3 or 4 years old. And now they're off performing in another part of the world. So that's encouraging and part of the process. I think it's one of the points I would make about the organization as we really look at this cycle of getting inspired. And then when you're inspired, you want to learn. And then when you learn, the way to keep inspired is to perform it, to have other people hear it. And then to take all of that and bring it back and somehow be part of the fabric of your community and performing and contributing in some way.
Very good stuff. So you play a pretty active role in like the Burlington community for the most part?
Yeah.
We are a statewide organization.
All
We do
right.
things around the state, but to be honest, most of our stuff is in Chittenden County. Of
All
course,
right.
the 25% of Vermont's population is in Chittenden County, so we can justify it in some ways. And Yazzie and I both live 45 minutes to an hour. How long does it take?
An hour on a good day.
It takes me 45 minutes to get home. Neither of us live in Burlington, but there's a lot of the stew, the bubbling, gurgling things that are going on in Burlington is an attraction and a convenient thing for us to be doing the things that we do. School partnerships, et cetera. With that said, we do things around the state. We've been do things all over the place.
Very good stuff. So we heard about the instrument petting zoo. Do we have anything else that you wanted to discuss on youth engagement, youth outreach, all that good
Sure,
stuff?
I can talk about how I got involved.
I would love to hear how you got involved.
Right. It was actually through this showcase concert that is coming up on Saturday.
That's where I met you, right?
Yes, it
Yes.
is. It's where I met Mark. My teachers were invited to rally some students and play in the teacher-student showcase. And myself and my siblings were all learning tunes from these folks. And so we played at the concert. And that's how I got involved with Young Tradition Vermont. And then later that year, Mark said, "Oh, here's a gig. Do you want to play at the Tunbridge History Expo?"
Yeah.
And my siblings and I,
You hadn't performed
we
before,
hadn't
right?
performed together before,
Yeah,
and we
okay.
were like, "What, a sibling band?" But it happened, and so it kind of got us working together and developing common repertoire and performing in lots of different places and becoming more comfortable as musicians and performers, but also not just performers, but sharers of the music, people who can share to others.
That's a cool way to look at it.
Yeah, one thing, you reminded me of a couple of things to say, if you don't mind.
No, go for it.
Keep talking.
Go for it.
We're not, we have a contest, but it's sort of a soft pedal contest. We're not trying to talk about the stars of tomorrow. When we're talking about traditional music, dance, singing, et cetera, we're talking about something that came from behind us in history, and we're trying to take that forward. And the thing about it, it's never been static. It's always been changing. So what's happening right now with Yazzie and her siblings or the people that are in the contest, they're taking things from the past and they're propelling it into the future. And this weekend and the other things we do is just this moment in time, this intersection between the past and the future. And it's kind of like this bridge across the divide.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, I think we would like to hear another song. I have one up here that I think you guys wanted me to play for you. Did you want to do an introduction to that with Samuel and Perrin? Am I saying that right?
Yeah. So Samuel and Perrin have entered in the weekend contest, and they submitted a video online, and they got picked to be in the final voting. And Samuel is a friend of mine that I met at a music camp in Maine, and we discovered that we had both been homeschooled, and we both loved to play traditional music, and we loved to sing. And so I thought of him when the contest came up, and I bugged him until he submitted something.
And it seems that he has submitted something.
Yes,
So
he has.
good stuff.
Not only that, he's volunteering now, right?
Yes, I roped him into
You really
volunteering.
roped him in.
Yeah, so if you enter the contest, watch out.
All right, so with that, we have Samuel and Perrin's tape that they sent in. It is their version of Epic Reel. Is
No,
what I have
that's
up?
not Samuel and Perrin. I think
Oh.
it's,
Oh, no.
yeah,
Next one down. All right, I
Yeah.
got it.
it should be accordion and fiddle.
Yes, we have the accordion fiddle with Samuel and Perrin. All right, and again, that was Samuel and Perrin playing, and they're going to be playing this Saturday at the Waterfront check them out. So I'd love to hear just a little bit more about what you guys are doing this weekend.
So the festival, actually, I'm calling it a festival. It wants to be a festival. But the weekend actually started a month and a half ago because we started what we call fiddle clubs in all the elementary schools in Burlington. So there's been a group of kids, maybe 25 altogether, that have been in each of the 6 elementary schools in Burlington, preparing music, learning music to play for the dance tomorrow night at Burlington High School. And they're going to get together for the first time, having never met before. Perhaps, most likely not having met before. So kids from one elementary school don't know the kids from the other one, but they all have the same tunes in common. So we're going to play. They're just going to be thrust into this soup of playing for a dance, and sink or swim. We'll have a great time, and so that's a really important part of how we engage kids in being involved. So as an example. The other thing that's happening is every year we go up to the hospital, and we have a monthly music session anyway on the pediatric floor at the hospital. But during the Young Tradition Weekend, we take musicians up there, and they do a performance there for children who can't come to the festival, who are at the hospital, and their families and any staff that are around. So that really fits the service part of what our organization is about.
Very cool. And do you have anyone special who goes to do these performances?
Yeah, well, it's kind of whoever is available and who's not scheduled. In fact, this year there's a group from Orkney, which is the islands north of Scotland, and coincidentally, this group that I mentioned before were there last week. We were actually in Orkney. That the band that's going to come to Burlington, and they're playing a concert on Friday night at the Lane Series at the Music Recital Hall at UVM. But they're going to do the hospital visit this time for young women who play traditional fiddle music from Orkney.
Very good stuff. So another question for you guys. So traditional music, is this all music that has already been written, or do you look at songwriting, composing, any of that sort of stuff at all?
We have had songwriters as part of the weekend. Actually, one of the folks who won the contest a few years ago was Eric George, he writes amazing ballads. So that's kind of traditional music, but traditional in the sense that it's still growing. It's a living tradition.
Definitely.
So, yeah.
And do you think kind of like keeping that tradition alive, that sounds like it's a big part of your organizations?
Yeah, keeping it alive. It's not reviving it so much as just keeping it going. Because it's thousands of years old. It's been around for a really long time, and it hasn't gone anywhere. It's not going anywhere. We're just trying to highlight it and make sure that young people have access to it,
right,
and have a chance to get excited about it. I was just looking I was looking for Yazi and trying to find out where you were here, and there was a poster for Waking Windows, which is another festival that's going on, which is really exciting. It's great that there's bunches of things that can be going on at the same time, but I was looking at the poster, and there are several folks who are at that festival that have been part of the Young Tradition Weekend in the past. Anais Mitchell, Henry Jameson, Marisa Smith, and they were all on the poster for Waking Window. So that was kind of
cool.
fun to see that was there was that connection.
Very cool. So
Yeah.
how do you guys kind of help this traditional music relevant today? How do you get people excited about it?
Well, traditional music, there's so many ways that it can be relevant.
For
Just
sure.
in Young Tradition Weekend itself, the performances are a great mode of entertainment and education and inspiration for all the people who are involved. And then also there's a large session tradition within traditional music. So musicians who have a common repertoire will get together and just jam out and play tunes together. And that's a great form of community building that I've experienced in the Irish music world. There's a weekly session that I go to, and a lot of my friends also go there, and I've made a great many friends through that music.
Well, what I've noticed is that it's not so unique. Traditional music isn't so unique from all kinds of other things, whether it's clothing or hip hop or television shows or whatever. if younger kids see older kids who are maybe a little bit further down the line in terms of being cool and sort of admirable, and older brothers and sisters, and if some of them are doing this and they're seen as having a great time and really doing fun stuff like going on a trip to Scotland or being able to perform on a stage, they see that, oh wow, that's what I would like to do. So that's part of it. You know, it could be that they're all watching the same TV show, or they're all wearing the same clothes or something. In this case, it's about playing, singing, and dancing music that comes from a long time ago, and making it their own. The thing about traditional music and dance and singing is that it changes all the time. You put your voice into it, and it makes it your own. And there's no one standing around saying, "Oh, I own that thing. You can't do that." Traditional music is more about making sure that it's shared, and everyone gets excited about it and can put their own mark on it.
Great stuff. So if you guys want to learn more about Young Tradition Vermont, you can head to their website. It is youngtraditionvermont.org. Thank you guys so much for coming in. Do you have any last words that you would like to say?
No, come and find out for yourself.
Yeah, come and find out for yourself.
And again, this is one of 30 programs that we do,
Yeah.
and there's all kinds of other programs that you could find out. If you have any sort of interest in it, look us up.
All right, so again, this is The Radiator here with Young Tradition Vermont. This program is supported in part by Vermont Business for Social Responsibility. VBSR is an organization of 650 plus businesses that works to protect the natural, human, and economic environments of our citizens through business practice. VBSR also publishes the Buy Local book and app featuring coupons from 250 local businesses. Learn more at vbsr.org.